He is.
Aha.
Hey, hey, can you guys see me or no? No, here we
I
go.
can't see you yet, but it's probably loading.
There you
There he
go.
is.
What's going on, boys?
I was going to say,
Holy shit, we're
nice.
doing this again.
Loading.
Just like
Fuck,
old times, eh?
when was the last time? Did we do this last time?
I was gonna ask you the same thing.
I don't
Uh,
remember.
it was right around. It was COVID for sure. It was
It was
after
COVID?
it
Okay.
was after my dad passed, so it was probably 2020, 2021.
Shit.
Yeah.
So it's been a
You
few
know,
years.
holy shit. Yeah, and that was fuck, that was a great interview. Holy shit. No, it was like you were on point. I don't know. I thought we were pretty good. And I just
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah, no, it was definitely one of the best I've ever had. I hope I can bring the same energy for sure.
well, we don't bring too much energy. We don't want to make Sam's show look great.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just,
we don't want to be too good. Sam will be
um
out of a job.
yeah, Sam will be out of a job. I'm glad he asked me to do it. He needs some help. He's having
Yeah,
some trouble filling some spots, so he brought in the guy that does the Propaganda podcast. He guested an episode, I think, this week. I'm gonna help him
yeah,
out
I
on a
saw
couple
that.
too.
Yeah,
Did a good job. Good guy.
yeah,
But he still
nice.
has to have me on his show.
God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to Witchpolice Radio. You can hear the voice already here. We're already recording. Todd and I've been going for half an hour because that we just got to hit record.
Perfect.
We have in the room today a returning son, Nic Dyson.
Hello, hello.
Holy fuck. I was excited for this. I was like, Sam was like, okay, you need to, who can you get? And I'm like, fuck, the first person I want to ask was you because like I wanted you back on our show because that like we just said, like that episode was memorable. We had a good time. It was actually, for me, it was like a soul searching because, we talked about your dad. We talked about me and Todd's dad. Um,
Yeah,
we hit on some good notes, I think that personally that I needed to hit on that I maybe was struggling with on my own because we were all close with their dad, right?
absolutely,
So
man. Grief is a monster, but it's also an individual experience, right? And
yeah,
yeah, I'm really glad we could be there for each other during that time, honestly.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
to be
Technology.
honest, I don't remember much from that time, to be honest with you. Um, just because there was a lot of darkness during that time, and I think part of my coping was to just black it out, to be honest with you.
sure,
But I do remember that interview, and I do remember feeling very very touched and very fulfilled by it. Um, in a time when I didn't feel a lot of that. So yeah, I really appreciated you guys being open and honest with me, and just having a genuine conversation. It's especially over COVID when everybody was separate and all of that. Yeah,
yeah. I think we were all a bit messed up. Like despite what was going on with you with your dad and everything, just that time in general it fucked a lot of people up. That's for sure. It was just messy.
Yeah.
uh, I've been. Oh, if you had something to say, go ahead.
No, just going to say thank God for technology because there's no way. I mean, this was probably the best platform to have in that time because, people couldn't get together and you can actually see yourselves kind of face to face, not physically there, but you actually see the person that you're talking to versus say on a phone where it's kind of there's the I mean, guys being visual creatures, I mean, just to be able to see the person
Yep.
rather than just hear them, right? So
Absolutely.
it just kind of connected everyone together just that much more.
Yeah, and it really brought into focus what was important and who was important, and just in each other's lives, and really um, allowed us to slow down and reprioritize, and
Yeah.
and those I mean, I think back to the people that got me through that time, and yeah, it was the people that I would call every day. It was the people that I would game with every day, or because yeah, there wasn't a lot going on, and so
No.
we really had to rely on each other. Yeah, but now we're here. Look at us now.
Yeah. Still
Who would have
doing
thought?
Zoom.
We're still zooming.
Yeah,
Still
still
zooming.
zooming.
But I think too, like, and Sam brought this up before too, that like he used to do all his stuff in person, and it was
Yeah.
this like, and it was a hectic thing for him. He's got his kids at home and his wife and stuff. He's like, okay, I got to go do this interview and then get back late and then be tired for it the next day, and
Mhm.
it kind of forced him to reprioritize as well, just like us, is that I'm going to do these remote now, like, period. And that's the only way he does it. But it gives him more
Yep.
time to spend with the family and stuff like that. And like you said, reprioritize. I spent so much time with my family working from home. It was like the best. It was it was the best thing I needed at that time, because work, I was so sick and tired of work at the time. It was just couldn't handle the over socialization, the they kept doing all these activities for team building and stuff. It's like, I don't want to spend more time at work. Like,
Yeah.
you're trying to, it's like a family. My family's at home. I don't
Yeah.
want to, work is just a job at the end of the day. And people always prioritize their work over their families because that's the way culture was built. And that's the way it's all about the almighty dollar and working for the man and all this stuff. And now
Welcome to
it's like,
capitalism, right?
fuck yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
I mean, look at how many office jobs now allow either full time at home remote work or half time or whatever. It seems like at least some of the fallout from that time has been positive, because it seems to me like there is much, much, much more of a push for remote work or just at home work, um, because of that reprioritization. Yeah.
It's funny, like in my I'm on LinkedIn because as a working professional, you have to be on LinkedIn. I keep getting these spams. Want to work from home for 50K a year? Apply here, let's just like over and over and over again. And it's like they
Hmm.
know, like even the spam bots know that's what you want, isn't it? To work from home.
It kind of is, yeah. There's too many pros to not want it. But I still feel like there's a lot of good in getting out of the house and going somewhere
Sure.
else, going to an office. But at the same time, yeah, to have that option is a game changer for sure.
Wait, are we supposed to talk music or what's going on here?
I just like talking to you guys, honestly. I
No,
just
I
missed
do
you
too.
guys.
Yeah. So what do you been? So I'm not. I go on social media to post for the show and that's it. So what have you actually been up to? Like, I know you did a couple of shows. You did one at the Rec Room or whatever the hell that stage is called, and then
Yeah, the
someplace
rec
else.
room,
But
yeah.
what was that? When was your last show?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I've really slowed down in terms of shows. Um, my last full show that I advertised and where I was playing like a full set was last September.
Okay.
And then I played a memorial show shortly after that,
Oh
for a
yeah, I
friend
remember
of
seeing the after that. Yeah.
yeah, for a friend of ours that passed away. But other than that, it's definitely been quiet, but only on the live front. I am very much in writing mode,
Okay.
and I I've actually I'm stoked to talk to you guys because I'm kind of switching gears, and I was excited to talk about it. While I'm in writing mode for my solo stuff, I have always wanted to front a rock band, a punk
I
grunge
remember you
band.
talking about this.
Did I? Okay.
Oh
So
yeah, man. I was excited for it because I'm a fan of the Bonaducci's and the Paperbacks. I don't know if you know who they are.
no, I don't, but I'm gonna look them up right after
Oh
this. I'll
my.
tell you that.
Okay, dude, like I'm not lying. Go listen. If you want some really evocative, great storytelling, lyricism with some punk rock, that's where you
That's it,
go.
eh?
That's where you go. Period.
That's high
Honestly, there's a
praise.
whole bunch of stuff on Bandcamp. I know Doug McLean, who's the band leader for both. Great fucking guy, like amazing guy. And those bands are just great. So go listen to that. But you talked about that last time. I do remember that because you do have a punky. There's a punky angst to what you do, even though it's it's kind of mellow and not melancholic, but I don't know what the word is. I always think Nick Drake. It's Nick Drake-ish.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's also high praise. Wow. Thank you. But yes,
but
I
but but your
go ahead.
stuff on top of like a punk thing, I think it makes sense. So so what's going on with this? What are you doing?
Uh, yeah. Well, I think it surprises most people when they hear what I do regularly, and then I tell them that my first favorite band was Black Sabbath, and then my favorite band in middle school was System of a Down, and my favorite band in high school was Alexis on Fire. Like they don't see that from me. And if you don't know me, yeah, people are like, "What? Like, what are you talking about? I didn't know you like Black Sabbath." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, listen to the first side of Master of Reality and tell me that's not the like, you know." Anyways,
Yep.
I so I've always wanted to make music like that, and I have been writing for it since like maybe 2016, 2017, off and on, you know. So I have a good collection of songs already, and this summer, my best buddy, Monty, he's been in a band before. He was in a band called Voider, and uh, he's just a huge music fan and local music fan, and I've always wanted to be in a band with him because I just think he's got the best energy, and so we got together and we started practicing, and then our drummer, who is my best friend since high school, maybe even middle school, he moved to Ottawa for a job, and we were kind of like, do we try to get another drummer? But it just didn't feel right without him. But we tried with a couple of other drummers, and yeah, we just couldn't. You know, it's hard to get everybody on the same page. It's hard to get everybody motivated to practice, to get together, all of that stuff. It's one of the main reasons why I've been a solo artist for all this time, because
Easier.
it's so hard to rally people together under the same cause. But my buddy Monty was like, "Man, you've been holding on to these songs for so long. Like, I really want to play these live. Like, I want to write with you. Like, let's just go to the studio. We'll get somebody to drum for us, and we'll put some songs down." And we did.
You did?
We did.
Wait, there's something?
There is 3 songs, and it
Sorry, I'm excited. I love new
and
music.
well, I'll tell you, it's not over yet because I should be getting the final masters tonight.
Oh, Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
I've heard the masters, like, just all we're waiting on are a couple of revisions, but the songs are they're massive, and it's hard to believe that they're real. Just because I've dreamed about it for so long, and I've thought about it for so long, and I've wanted it to happen for so long. And so to actually have it down and see our work down, it's amazing. It makes me excited about my own music in a way that I don't think I ever have been.
That's super.
Yeah, like and I don't think it's just because it's a different genre. I think it's because with my solo stuff, it's always been so hyper personal. It's just been like really hard to not only get those songs out of myself, but to share them, to perform them. It's just really hard on my heart, um, and on my mind. And sometimes it's just not fun to do that. Like I
Wow.
get,
Yeah.
yeah, like I get the value of doing it, and like I know that sharing them allows people to connect with them and all that, and that's all fine and great. But at the end of the day, sometimes I got to look out for myself, and if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good.
Amen.
Yeah, and so not to say that I don't want to record those, or it's not that I'm not saying that I don't want to perform them or I don't want to ever acknowledge them ever again. It's more that I just need a break from that kind of creativity. Like it's just so heavy, and I wanted to find a way to channel my creativity into something that I could actually have fun with, that still is, a piece of me, a genuine piece of me, a sincere piece of me, but something that is just a lot more fun and a lot
Well,
more focused
I might
on.
be
Go
speaking out
ahead.
of turn here,
Go ahead. Go
but
ahead.
I think you're not just sad guy. I think you have more than one emotion. I think you got a
Thanks,
whole
man. I
bunch.
really
Let's see the
appreciate
whole
that.
palette of colors. Like I'm excited
Yeah.
for if you're just going to do the same thing the whole time, you're going to get bored with what you're doing. There's no doubt about that. You gotta try different things. If you're AC/DC playing the same album over and over and over again, like that's fine. Your fans are going to like it, and that's great. But if AC/DC was singing about sad stuff all the time, Angus Young would have retired a long time ago. Like you can't maintain that not composure, that those feelings for forever, because it's just going to break you, and that's not fair to you for sure. Like try other stuff. I'm more excited to see you try different things, and like the Von is like, again, I can't rave enough about them. Like there's sadness in their songs, but because there's a punk thing, it's a little bit better. But I'm sure there's some songs that Doug doesn't ever want to do ever again. And I don't think he plays music anymore because I think some of those songs are too personal. But maybe if he had found another outlet, other
Yeah.
types of songs to do,
Yeah. I think I'm learning how to write differently as well, in a way that kind of protects my heart a little better. That's not so on the nose and just horribly vulnerable.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, though, when I was in the studio for that day doing these songs, I mean, I was yelling, and I don't get to do that. Like, and I've never done that in the studio, right? And so I was surprisingly self-conscious about how it sounded, and I still am. But I know that when we were in the studio, I was asking my guys, like, hey, if this doesn't sound good, you better tell me now, because I don't want to make a fool out of myself for trying something that I really shouldn't be, or I don't want to get super invested in this, get super excited about it for people to go, oh, you stick to what you know, buddy. Um, but
but somebody will tell you that though, regardless. So you got to be careful who you're listening to, right?
well, you're right about that too. I mean, that that's the the age-old thing where not everybody's going to like what you do, regardless of whatever it is. And I get that too, but I wouldn't want my friends or the people who have really invested a lot of time in what I've already done to look at what I'm doing now and go, it's just not it. But I will say that the initial reactions to my core people who I have shown have been pretty positive. And just as I suspected, they were shocked that I could write that way, sound that way, which is a really cool feeling because I feel like I said, I've always wanted to do it. I feel like I've always had it inside of me. So it's really cool that it's finally coming to fruition. I will say this though, the songs are almost ready and they will come out probably within the next month, to be honest with you. We really, really want to get them out as quickly as possible. But the plan is to let people hear them, let people get to know them, and then by a great miracle, my friend who moved to Ottawa is actually moving back to Winnipeg, and got a job doing something remote. Full circle moment. So
nice.
Yeah, so
you planned that, didn't you?
And so we're getting the band back together. So I don't think we'll play live until he's home, but it's definitely for sure gonna happen. Because we desperately, especially now that we have them down and we kind of know what we're capable of, we really want to play them live because I think we're gonna have a blast. And again, that's all I'm really looking for right now.
So is this person like, okay, so you have your album.
Yes.
Or sorry, the 3 songs that you did.
Yeah.
Now this person is coming from Ottawa. Was this person playing on these 3 songs?
No, so okay, the full story. Here's the full lore, okay? About 2017, him and I got together. It was in a band called Parkview, like a local band here. His main instrument is bass. And he's a really good bass player, and he's a lyricist, and he's a good singer too. Like he's got it all. But he was like, I want an excuse to play drums because he just wanted to get better at playing drums. And I said, well, I want an excuse to write a different kind of music that is a little bit more fun, a little bit less serious. So do you wanna jam? And so we did. And so as a 2-piece, we were called The Management. Not MGMT, but The Management.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And we played 2 shows, pretty close together. Got our feet wet.
Sorry, what's the name of this guy?
Oh, his name is Brendan Kupiak.
Brendan Kupiak? Okay, I just found his stuff on Bandcamp, so now, God damn it, now I got to go down another rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You said send me down a rabbit hole. Okay, anyway, keep going. Keep going.
And funnily enough, two of those guys in that band I've known my whole life, and I did gang vocals on their EP at Private Ear Studio. So I am in the
So which song here? I'm looking at the list here.
I forget which ones. There's more than one. There's probably like 3 or 4 that have gang vocals, but
oh wow, they've got one called Anthems, just because I love promoting indie local stuff.
Of course.
So the album's called Anthems of a Generation by Parkview. That sounds right?
That's the one.
It says Brendan Kupiak, Matthew Mallory, and Braden Shaw.
Yes, sir.
So there's a song called 146, which I like numbered. I want to hear that song. I would play it now, but I'm talking to you, so I'll stay focused here. Never Mind, Let You Go, Nude Song, Sixth Floor, Passport, and Unpack, and Anthems of a Generation.
And they're very like very old school punk, very like but old school pop punk, like Newfound Glory,
Okay.
No Effects, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
As soon as
yeah.
we're done here, this is what I'm listening to.
Yeah, man, it's a great EP. I love those guys very much. Um, so so Brendan and I did the two shows, and then I was like, you know what, we should bring my best buddy Monty, who was the one I mentioned,
Yep.
into the fold, and that's we started jamming, and that's when he got the job. So we never really were able to get it off the ground. And now that we've got the songs down, it's an inevitability at this point.
So can I ask a question? So are you playing
Go
like
ahead.
electric on this then, or are you playing
Oh yeah, but
an electric
we're
acoustic or?
no, this is full. I would say, like I said, dude, I think you're gonna be a little bit shocked. It's pretty
Fuck,
heavy.
shock me. Bring it on.
I'll I'll send you the secret Dropbox link after this interview. How about that?
That's what. Fuck yeah. I'm not gonna turn that down.
But so yeah, I'm as you can tell, I'm very excited about it. But at the same time, I will say, in terms of my solo stuff, I'm writing more than I've ever written in my entire life, including when I first started. I've I've banked around 20 songs, which has never happened to me. Usually, when I go into a studio to do an album, I've got 10 songs, and that's all I've got. There's no B-sides, there's no nothing. And usually, maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll write one more in the recording process, so that
Mhm.
makes 11. But I've never had more than I need, you know? Um, Last summer, maybe this is the first time I've talked about this too. I have been busy, I guess. Last summer, I went to House of Wonders with Adam Furr. He's a a great producer, but he also fronts a band called Yes We Mystic.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So over the summer, last summer, I went to his studio and we recorded an EP of my solo songs. They are not ready to come out. I don't know when exactly they will come out, but they are recorded. They are done. Um, Very, very proud of it. Very excited for people to hear it for um, a lot of reasons. But on top of that, I've got about 20 songs that I've written mostly over the last few months. Honestly, I've really hit a stride. I don't know why, um, but yeah, if for whatever reason it's flowing out of me, and I like I said, it's never really happened to me like this before. So I'm really excited to go to the studio and be able to have a pool of songs to work with, you know? Like I I don't know what that's like. I don't know which ones we're going to choose to do,
And
you
then
know?
what happens like if you when you've got that many songs ready that far in advance? Like when we did our Dome album, we hammered the shit out of those songs for God, how long did we play those songs? Like practice after practice, just not good enough. Change this, up, do this. Todd's gonna create this amazing bass line on here, like just bang, bang, bang. Do you think you're gonna like be hammering these songs because they're ready so far in advance to going in the studio to do something with it, or are you just gonna leave it as is? And no, when they're done, they're
I
done. That's it.
That's a good question. Well, actually, with the EP that I did with Adam, we actually the first day in the studio, we didn't actually record much. We spent the whole day workshopping the songs.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the first times that I've ever done that too, because every other time, um, we record the songs as I have written them, and so this was the first time that we deconstructed them and said like, can we can we move this part here? Can we add a little moment here? Can we, so a lot of the things that we decided to do were pretty minuscule, but one thing that I've learned is that sometimes the best part of a song is that tiny detail, right? And so really putting the songs under a microscope and figuring out exactly what the hooks are, where the dynamics are, all of that stuff. It was a really fun new experience for me, and I'm sure come time for me to record this pool of songs, I'm sure I will do the same kind of process, because I really did enjoy it, and I think it served the songs really well. So I don't see why I wouldn't do it again. Because usually when I write a song, most of the time they're about 80% complete. There's only a few times where I've written a song from start to finish, and I'm like, this is a full, complete song. There is nothing that I would think needs to be changed. Nothing. It's perfect the way it is. There's not a lot of songs that I've ever written. I know exactly which ones they are. I could count on probably one hand. But those are the songs that are, I don't know. I'm sure as a songwriter yourself, have you ever had songs where you're just like, that one's different? Maybe it came out of you as a stream of conscious, or it was just super easy for whatever reason, and it just kind of flowed out of you. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like those songs, and you can picture in your head exactly which songs of yours I'm talking about.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, and so that doesn't happen to me all the time, obviously. So yeah, I really enjoy the process of and understanding that just writing the song is actually like step one. And I think for a lot of people who aren't either like, there's just a lot of people that don't actually understand how much goes into not just like the inception of the song, but getting it from square one to in your ears on Spotify. Like it's a huge process.
Well, okay. Like, if you want to talk about that, Todd, who did our mastering and recording and stuff, like he knows that full well, because he's the guy twiddling the knobs and turn this up, turn this down, press this, or
and
it's nuts.
And to me, I don't have that kind of vision, because maybe it's because I'm a Libra and I can't make decisions. But when I have that kind of untethered, like just anything can happen and you can do anything you want, that amount of choice is really daunting to me and really scary to me, and I would never know where to start. Even if I had an idea of what I wanted it to sound like, I still would have no idea where to start, which is why I need a producer. And I'm okay with saying that. But I'm very envious of people who can do everything themselves. And I know lots of people that do, and I'm envious of all of them, because I can only do so much myself.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Are you aware of Todd and I've talked to this before? Do you know who Wolfgang Van Halen is?
Absolutely, I do. Yes.
Okay, so the fact, like, based on what you said, so he goes in, records every single instrument. He's part of the mixing, the recording. the whole 9 yards. He's playing every instrument on there. Imagine that. Like that.
I know.
I just get anxiety. I'm a Libra too, so I get major anxiety when I think about. I listen to that album. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you know? Like, because he's got to record one track at a time because he's doing every instrument himself, right? So he's like, and I'm just getting anxious listening to this album. Like, holy fuck! Like, what if you fucked up that drum beat and that's your first track, and now you're doing the guitar track, but then you fucked up you got to go back and like,
let's bring it,
I
dude.
can't.
Let's bring it back to Boston's debut album, dude. It was done by one guy in his basement on tape. Like, come on, like
on tape, yeah.
Like that's just, and he did literally everything. So, yeah, that.
Not Libra's either one of them, I'm sure.
I doubt it. But yeah, that stuff, that amount of choice, that amount of freedom of choice is too much for me, and I'm totally okay with admitting that.
I just want to ask, okay, so because, and you were saying the music now is kind of flowing through you, and I think, do you think it's because it's a new thing? It's like when you're like the songs that you're writing before, okay, that's, you're in your element, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I want to try something different, and it doesn't matter. And even Sean, like when we did Dome, it was totally something different than what we would normally do. And I'm sure, Sean, when you were writing that stuff, it was like it was a whole new genre, and you could like open up in a whole different way that you never thought of before. And Nick, the same thing with you. I mean, the music that you've been doing, and then this new stuff, it's like it's new. It's like a kid going to Disneyland for the first time.
A little bit.
Everything is new. Like everything is like, oh, well, I'm going to try this and try that. Now with the instruments that you did, like who played all the instruments? Okay, so you sang and you played guitar, right?
Are you talking about the punk stuff?
Like the stuff that you at the Masters, you said you had 3.
Yeah, okay, yeah, the punk stuff. So I, it's amazing because we've got me, we've got my buddy Monty, who I said was in a band called Loiter, and then Brendan, who was in a band called Parkview, all principal lyricists and songwriters in their respective bands.
Oh.
So I told them, I was like, I don't want to be the only person writing here, even though it was my idea to start with, and I could, but I don't want to. I'd much rather it be a more collaborative process. But for these 3 songs that I did, that we put down, those were mine because, like I said, I'd been writing them since 2017. But on the recording, it was I played all the guitars. I played there's one song with a lead part that I played and wrote. And then my buddy Monty plays bass and does a couple of backgrounds and harmonies and stuff. And then the guy that recorded us, Jay Voth at Ricochet Recording, he did the drums. And he destroyed it. He killed it. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I, again, didn't really know what to expect, but it shattered all of my expectations. And then we also had my buddy Tommy, who was also in a band of his own, the Whatever Man, as well. He also was in 6 out of 10 for a bit, which is still around, I believe.
I'm looking all this shit up, by the way.
But he, yeah, go ahead. But he was doing some backgrounds for us as well. And when we play live, he is our second guitarist. Yeah, we had a great time, and it only took 2 days. I went over there.
2 days for 3 tracks?
Yeah, we went hard, but we
holy shit.
I went over there.
Impressive.
I went over there myself to do the scratch tracks, so that Jay could do the drum tracks by himself, and then we had like a 12-13 hour day the next day with everybody, and that's when we put it all together. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a blast. It was one of the best days I've had in a long time, and I'm very, very, very excited.
See, I think that's the difference though. If you're working with a band versus working just by yourself, and you're like you're making the calls. I know the producer or whatever is, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. But when you can bounce stuff off of other people, like I principally write by myself and then bring stuff to Todd.
Yeah,
But but when we were doing Dome, there was 4 of us writing. It was the weirdest fucking thing because it's like I don't have to be relied on to do anything. Like I can do my part. I can contribute to the other parts if I so choose. But it's a whole different and
it's a division of labor.
Yeah, but I think it frees up parts of your brain so you can maybe get your part even better.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to worry about the other stuff. Like it's a whole different dynamic. Like Todd, you got to agree. Like it was like we'd never done anything like that before. It was very unique.
Well, we had different styles too. Like I was more of an 80s person. Alex did a lot of the heavier stuff. I mean, everybody had their own influence. So you kind of, we'd do something, says, oh, you play that beat, and then he would play, and then I would play on top of that. Then Sean would start, writing stuff, and that's how kind of we built the songs. It wasn't like, okay, well, this is your part, this is your part, this is your part. Everything was done right from scratch, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And that kind of also if you're doing it from scratch, it allows everybody's voices to be heard, eh?
Yeah.
I think when I brought these songs, I kind of told the guys, like, yeah, I've had them forever, and yeah, like I feel like they're finished, but if you have any ideas whatsoever that will make them rock harder, like I'm all ears. Because all I really wanted was them to rock really hard. Like, because I just wanted to make a statement. I wanted to, when people put this on and they're expecting something, they're going to get something else and it's going to blow their mind. And that's what I wanted. So I'm not with my solo stuff, because it's so personal, because it's so it's because it's so me. I'm very protective of it, and it is hard for me to relinquish control, especially in like the composition of the song itself. But with these, it was kind of like I want everybody to have an input, and I'll give you an example. Actually, there's the one song that's probably the oldest. I wrote it in about 2018, 2017. So I've had it in my pocket for a long time. And so I got used to playing it a certain way. I got used to hearing it a certain way. And we were recording the vocals, and there's in the chorus, there's the last word of the chorus, all the music drops out. And it's just the word anymore. And I was singing it a certain way both times. And Monty was like, man, I'm just thinking for the second chorus, if you just, instead of saying it like anymore, sing it like anymore, like just the tiniest little, and I immediately was like, absolutely, let's do it. And
but now it means something different.
And
now
sure
has
the
inflection completely changes what that word means.
That tiny change just made all the difference. And so yeah, I'm, especially with these songs, I was wide open, and I feel like I will stay that way, wide open to collabing in that way, because I want the songs to be the best that they can be, because I want them to make an impact when people hear them.
Awesome.
So over the next month, since this podcast, you will hear a new project for me called Longfall. It is a punk grunge pop project that I've wanted to get off the ground for my whole life. You'll be able to hear it really soon, and we will play shows in the fall. And in the meantime, I am writing tons of material for what will become at some point my next solo album, which I cannot wait for either, because I think I'm writing the best material I've ever written. And I am happy to be in this space creatively, and I feel like it's a privilege to be heard by anyone. So if anyone's listening to this, thank you for listening, and thank you for caring about local music.
Where's the best place to reach you social media wise? Where do you hang out mostly?
Well,
TikTok, obviously.
TikTok for sure. It used to be Twitter, but my Twitter got hacked
Yes.
by a MAGA guy. Or no, it was some guy in Nigeria who then sold my account to a MAGA guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then within a week of that happening, it got taken down. So it's gone forever. And I've kind of decided that I'm staying off of Twitter because it is so negative and not good. And TikTok, on the other hand, is great and positive and wonderful.
Is it at Nic Dyson then at TikTok? Is that right?
At Nic Dyson Music. And then my Instagram, which is my only other like major platform, is Nic Dyson Acoustic.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Go find him over there. Please go engage, because he will engage back with you, I promise. Unless you're being a dipshit or something. But then you'll probably engage even more.
I might call you out for being a dipshit.
Yeah. Well, Nic, this is great. It was too long between chats, and thanks for coming on, not for an interview, but for a conversation.
Yeah, I that's why I was most looking forward to this, because when I talk to you guys, it doesn't feel like an interview. It feels like a conversation, right?
We don't even have fucking questions.
I mean, you did ask good questions, but and you know, but that wasn't the focus, right?
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, and I feel a deep affinity for you too, and I appreciate your time and your honesty and your vulnerability with me, talking about your dad. And yeah, I really appreciate you two. Thank you again.
Yeah, this is great. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. I'm just gonna hit stop.